you need on your vehicle, regardless of the make or model, come see Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville Service Department or Randy Marion Ford Lincoln Service Department today.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
Hello and welcome to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You got it, 4 o'clock hour on a Thursday. If you're a 9 to 5er, you got 53 minutes, 23 seconds until you hit that 5 o'clock bell. And I appreciate so much you spending that time with us here as we give attention to all things economic, financial, got all kinds of stuff today. It's been a vibrant week. Never boring, that's for sure, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Hopefully providing some things that could be helpful for you and thinking about your financial journey. But in doing so, as we're talking about various things, then we're going to be looking at some things in a positive light, some things in a negative light. Again, in doing so, we recognize everybody's situation is unique. There are no blanket statements being made here, certainly no recommendations, because we recognize that everybody's on their journey and on their own path. So we strongly recommend that you reach out to your tax advisor, to your financial advisor, or if you'd like to reach out to us at North Main Financial Group, love to chat with you, love to hear about your particular journey, see if there are ways in which we might be able to be helpful to you. Online, you can find us at northmainfinancial.com. That's north like the direction, Main like the street, financial.com, northmainfinancial.com. We have a contact page on there. You can leave us an email address or phone number. Let us know if you like text messages. That's a big deal, I know, so that we can reach out to you to schedule some time together. Again, at northmainfinancial.com. You're also welcome to call us here in the studio. Producer Reese is going to take your call, take your question. Can't promise you I'm going to get you on the air for this hour, but I promise you if there's something that you'd like for us to address, happy to get it on. If not today, on next week's show, make sure that that we're giving you content which is relevant, helpful to you. Can't give you specific recommendations. I'm going to tell you in advance. Don't call and ask for the hot stock tips. As a matter of fact, if I'm giving them to you, probably should just go in the other direction. You know, there's probably a much better option that I'm not recommending to you. But quite seriously, no recommendations here. Definitely intent on looking at the universe and commenting on it as far as the financial world is concerned, and hopefully giving you some things to think about, and perhaps even to spark some questions and to further that journey along your financial plan and financial path. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. Lots happening this past week. As I said, I mean, I used to think there was a slow time in this business. Now, I may or may not have been in this business for several decades at this point, and several means more than 2 and less than 4, if you can put that together, the number of decades. So I've seen a couple of things in my 30 years of doing this kind of stuff. But it seemed to me at one point that there was more ebb and flow as far as the intensity of new events, the news cycle, et cetera, are concerned. And I'll just share with you what my personal experience was at that time there, those many years ago. I would say that it would roughly follow the school year, meaning the intensity followed September to May, and then there was usually a little bit of quiet time that we had there in the summer. And I'm not saying that was always the case, but it even morphed into a cliche of sell in May and go away. And the idea was, well, you sell off your positions in May, take the summer off, and rev back up again as you get to September. And I don't know that was ever completely true, but it certainly seemed that way. It certainly seemed that there was less intensity during those summer months as folks were more on vacation or maybe not paying attention as much. Boy, that's not the case now. 24/7, 365. I'm saying that because I know everybody on the age of 30 knows exactly what that means. That it is. It's constant. It never slows down. It is amazing, the intensity of the news cycle and how fast things move, the volume of things that move through our airwaves and through our digital sources. I mean, in many ways, a significant portion of our time at North Main Financial Group is sifting through the noise. I can't even call it all data because a lot of it isn't data, but it's sifting through the noise, figuring out what's relevant, trying to identify those kinds of things that are helpful and that are meaningful. And I'll tell you, that's a very small fraction of the total amount of noise moving through the system, meaning the overwhelming majority of it is pretty worthless, unfortunately, when it comes to making good decisions. But it's really hard to figure that stuff out, especially when you're moving on the fly here. But this first nugget that we have here, this was big, and it will continue to be big. It has been big in terms of previous announcements with this company, and very, very interesting. I think it speaks a lot into the intensity of the technological age which we occupy today, and which yet lies ahead of us. And I'm looking at you, Intel. Intel Corporation, been around a long time. It's an oldie but a goodie. Ticker symbol Indian Nancy Tom Charlie, INTC, not a recommendation. Buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity of Intel. Announcing, well, I would say they're soliciting. It really isn't an announcement yet. I haven't heard it from the counterparty at this point to confirm this, but all but soliciting or implying, is that better to say it that way? Implying that there is going to be a significant investment from Apple, yes, that Apple, into Intel. Now, this follows announcements that have been confirmed from NVIDIA Corporation, Nancy Victor David Alpha, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold that debt or equity either, from NVIDIA Corporation, $5 billion from them, and a multi-billion-dollar investment from the federal government, which, you talk about what that means, implications of the federal government making investments in publicly traded companies, whole lot of, both sides of the argument, maybe multiple sides, maybe more 3- and 4-dimensional and that kind of thought process. But just the statement of fact for means of this discussion point, that we've had announcement of investment from the federal government, announcement of investment from NVIDIA, and now I'm assuming because Apple didn't just jump through every news outlet on the planet, jumping up and down saying there's no chance that this is true. There's an assumption by their relative silence on this matter that this is moving along a pathway as well, meaning that Apple, by the way, ticker symbol Alpha Alpha Paul Larry, AAPL, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or equity there either, but it looks like they may be making a substantial, upwards of $5 billion again, investment in Intel. So you start to bring the question, at least I start to bring questions to the table, because first of all, we've known that Intel at North Main, and this is not a secret, this is not something we knew and nobody else did. This was very well known in the investment universe. Intel has struggled for a long time. They're a semiconductor company primarily involved in the manufacturing of computer chips. Those things which go into our computers and into our handheld devices and to televisions and other kinds of technology instruments that are out there. And so they've been around for a very long time. Intel, though, has largely been left behind in the last, I'll call it upwards of 10 years now, unfortunately, largely been left behind as the acceleration in terms of the intensity, capacity of these chips has just increased geometrically. And they have not been at the forefront of that. They've largely been left behind. The stock price has shown that. Had a couple of huge restatements. The stock price has taken a real hammer through the last several years. And but now with these investments, I mean, we talked about Intel here several weeks ago when the NVIDIA announcement was made. They're up 25% in a day. I mean, that never, so I shouldn't say that. In the 1980s, it actually did happen. That it actually is a very rare event, very unusual for a company of that size. So it begs a question. I think it begs a legitimate question of saying, okay, what's going on here? They're not buying the company. They're making substantial investments in it. They're all in somewhat related businesses. What does this look like? What does it mean for Intel? Well, I'm not going to teach you too much. I'll tell you in advance I don't have the answer, but we're going to talk more about it, about what it could mean for the computer industry, the semiconductor industry, and for the market overall. But before then, we're going to take a break. Going to come back here in a moment. Dollars and Cents here on WSIC.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
We'll expect some considerable cloudiness for our Thursday. High temperatures are warm again, back in the mid and upper 80s, and mostly dry as we go throughout the day. Heading into the evening into our Friday, scattered showers and a thunderstorm possible Friday afternoon also looks to be drier with high temperatures in the low 80s. Heading into the weekend, Saturday brings some occasional rain. Sunday, maybe not as much. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville kicks the weekend off early on Thursday, September 25th with the Thirsty Thursdays tournament. Call the 500 Club, 704-872-9990 for more information on entertainment, golf lessons, club memberships, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, and tea times. Saturday is the Fall Taba Walk in Old Town Cornelius. Town Hall and the Oak Street Mill are your destinations for a community celebration featuring live music, local vendors, craft beers, food trucks, kid zones, street art, a petting zoo, and more. The Fall Taba Walk is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday in Old Town Cornelius. NASCAR's National Series return to Charlotte Motor Speedway October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The Craftsman Truck Series race will be Friday, October 3rd. The Xfinity Series holds the Blue Cross NC 250 on Saturday the 4th, while the Cup Series races the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 5th. Click on charlottemotorspeedway.com for tickets and information about NASCAR's fall weekend and the World of Outlaws on the dirt track coming in November. Things are getting wild at the Carolina Classic Fair, and we mean every moment. From October 3rd through October 12th at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, you'll find exhilarating rides, irresistible eats, but entertainment that's anything but ordinary. Barn to be Wild means fun for everyone, whether you're chasing thrills, chowing down, or showing off your blue ribbon skills. Steer yourself towards the fun and buy your tickets today at carolinaclassicfair.com.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, October 4th through November 23rd.
Eat, drink, be merry at the Renaissance Festival.
Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
N110, upscale and elegant, but never pretentious. Over 500 whiskeys, 100 wines, craft cocktails, and crave-worthy small bites. Live music plus monthly comedy nights and tastings. Post your next event at N110, located at 19712 One Norman Boulevard in Cornelius.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us here. You made it second quarter of today's show, Football Reference. It is football season, folks. You know, once you get to the second quarter of Dollars and Cents, you know we're going to be talking about a little bit of football. And before you say, what does that have to do with economics, financial? You ever looked at the football business? Now, I used to point to the NFL. and the fact that the the valuations, we're going to talk about another team that actually just sold a piece of the franchise, and the valuation numbers are astounding. A little teaser there. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I mean, now it's big time college football as well. And not even just the SEC and ACC and Big Ten. I mean, it is pervasive throughout college football as well. The number of dollars that athletic departments and colleges and universities are raising in order to secure these athletes. I mean, it's astounding. It's billions with a B. I mean, it's not just millions anymore. It is amazing to see the landscape changing. In many ways, my opinion, you've heard me say this on a couple of other previous shows here on Dollars and Cents, it's the Wild West. There really isn't a whole lot of guardrail, the proverbial guardrail, if you will, in defining what you can and cannot do, what applies. I mean, it all started with this NIL business, the using of name, image, likeness. Now it's basically just outright just paying players. It really is. It's not. You don't even have to use their name, image, and likeness anymore. It's basically paying them to play at your particular university on your particular team, and so very, very interesting. So that's why we talk about it, and because we love football too. But we can't go much further. Producer Reese and I were talking about this during the break here. He brought it up to me, and I just got excited just thinking about it as he was telling me, and I knew we were going to talk about it in the second segment. And I'm coming. You know, Producer Reese is smiling like a Cheshire cat in there. Carolina Panthers, right? Carolina Panthers. This past, in case you missed it, I understand if you did, but the Carolina Panthers, 30-0 over our division rival Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched about half the game, and I'll admit I probably didn't watch the first half because I probably wasn't enthusiastic about what the prospects could be. I'll admit that. I'm still a fan, but I'll admit that it may be because I was not enthusiastic about how I thought it was going to end. Holy smokes, I turned it on after halftime. They're looking good.
Yeah.
I mean, like you were saying, producer Reese, offense, defense. I mean, it seemed like everything we were doing, we had Atlanta on their heels.
Everything just fell into place.
It's just amazing. And our ability to score and to keep them off the scoreboard. I mean, I know that all kinds of things are coming up like this. The first time this has happened since, I don't know, the Stone Age. I mean, I get it. All right. I don't need to be reminded how long.
I think they said 2022 or something was the last time we had a win over 30 points.
I think 30 points or more. And then they talked about the last time we had a shutout, which was also a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And then when we had a shutout, when we scored, where the difference was more, that was 30 points or more, was a really long time ago. All that being true, I appreciate that. Doesn't matter. Looking great.
They're bringing up a lot of numbers.
Looking great this past. Now, I also know there are a lot of fans out there, and I appreciate this. We're a little leery on getting too enthusiastic. Because it's, we say this a lot here at WSIC when it comes to the Panthers. It's early.
Right.
It is early, which applies in both directions. That applies when things aren't going well. Also applies when things looked really good.
It gives you hope.
It does. It does. So I am enthusiastic. So if y'all want to jump on the bandwagon at this point, on the Panther bandwagon, let's do it. Because they were looking good in that hot sun too. Oh my gosh, that looked hot. I mean, it's still summer here in a lot of ways in the Carolinas, and holy smoke, did it look warm! But we just looked like we were just on air. It was amazing that they moved in the ways that they did. So all enthusiastic for it. Looking forward to this coming week. Looking forward to continuing the winning streak, because we are now officially on a winning streak. Not going to tell you how many it is, but I'm going to tell you we are on a winning streak. And I'm looking forward to the coming week. Now, I had teased up a little bit as we came into the segment here in the second quarter, talking about how another NFL franchise announced that they're selling a piece of the franchise to some private investors. And if you're not familiar with this, I was saying about, could it be 2 years ago? At least a year ago, maybe close to 2 years ago now, where there were provisions made by the ownership group, so the owners who own the 32 teams for the NFL, in conjunction with the NFL Corporation, that would allow for the selling of up to 10% of each individual franchise, if that owner or ownership group decided they wanted to do that, to private investors. And the idea behind it was, even though the valuations on these things are astounding, sometimes it's hard to liquefy that investment. It's hard to move that investment into capital that can be used for other things. You can leverage it, you can take loans on it, et cetera. Yes, all those kinds of things are possible. However, if you don't want to do that, hard to sell off a piece of it to raise capital, to be able to perhaps buy out smaller investors, to be able to have somebody to exit if they would want to, meaning a previous owner, if they would want an exit strategy of some kind, or maybe just to raise capital to build a stadium or to acquire players or whatever it may be. They just didn't really have a whole lot of flexibility in that arena, and that's why that was passed by the NFL ownership group. So the one I've heard here most recently, and this just came out here in the last day or so, New England Patriots. Now, I got a fondness for the New England Patriots. That's where life began for me, up in the New England area. So I got a fondness for them up there, and I was amazed to see the numbers again. I mean, unbelievable. I'm going to read them to you. You may or may not believe me. I don't blame you. You can go on the internet. The internet's always true. It'll tell you the same thing. It's not always true. But this is definitely out there, and I haven't heard the Patriots deny it. They sold an 8% stake to a handful of investors. So it wasn't just one investor, is my understanding, but a handful of folks. An 8% stake in the franchise. The valuation, because you got to value the franchise. How much you're going to charge these folks, meaning what actually are they buying? So you have to put a value on the whole thing in order to be able to sell that. Valuation, $9 billion. $9 billion.
That's a lot.
I mean, $9 billion. I mean, I remember thinking when David Tepper bought the Carolina Panthers here, 12 years ago now.
I have no idea, actually.
It's been a while. Okay. And to be fair, it has been a while. Let's say it's around 10 years. 844-STUDIO-4, you can call in, check me on that, to let me know exactly the number of years. But I do remember the number, and $2.75 billion. And at that time, I believe this is true, that was the largest purchase price for an NFL franchise
I think I remember
in history.
That.
Yeah. That was 2.75. Now the Cowboys franchise I know is valued, Dallas Cowboys valued over $10 billion. I mean, we're talking some gargantuan numbers here and some incredible appreciation over a relatively short period of time. And so I think that also, as this provision has been put into place, where private investors can be offered up to 10% of the franchise, I think that's why there are so many folks who want in on it.
Speaking of the Patriots, that's who we played this week.
Oh, see, that's a great segue. See, I didn't even know that there, producer Reese. So it makes perfect sense that we would do that. But I was still astounded. I mean, a $9 billion valuation. I mean,
that's a lot.
That's pretty breathtaking in my world. But once again, an indication about how much money, specifically with the NFL, but we talk about big time college football as well. But specifically with the NFL, that value, that brand, it just won't quit. And obviously, when it comes to what folks are willing to pay to be a participant in that. By the way, 32 franchises, this is almost statistically impossible. Not one franchise loses money. Not one. I mean, they literally, I mean, it can happen. I mean, you're paying these guys a lot of money, right? I mean, the guys on the field, these stadiums are outrageously expensive. I mean, they're billions of dollars now to buy, not $10 billion, but a couple of $1 billion to build these stadiums. Now, a tremendous amount of expense, and not one of them is unprofitable. It's
just thinking about that is crazy,
isn't it? I mean, it is amazing to me anyhow, because the numbers are so big, and the demand and the brand element of things is so strong. I mean, people just pay. They just do. I mean, $300 for a ticket, okay. $15,000 for. By the way, this is true. I'm not making this up. $15,000 plus for a suite for one game at the Panthers.
15,000.
15,000 for the big suites. Yeah. I mean, it's out there. I'm not making that up. Check me on it. You can call the Panthers directly. You even asked to talk to Mr. Tepper. I don't know if he'll take your phone call or not. But 50. I mean, somebody's paying that. Otherwise, they can't charge it.
I would think that's a little bit too expensive.
Well,
but people pay it, so they're going to keep the price the same.
Why would they lower it? Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That whole supply demand ethos. I mean, if that's what the market is demanding, that's what the market wants, or that's what the market's willing to pay for that kind of thing. Why drop it?
Yeah.
That just it's amazing. It just is. And I know we like football here at WSIC, but I also like talking about it because of just the numbers aspect of things. I mean, there are very few things that are, let me say, as well known as competitive professional athletics. That meaning, and because there are things that are also very lucrative that don't get talked about, but obviously, especially here in the U.S., when you're talking about football, I mean, it's very, very well known, and it's just astounding. It's astounding the number of dollars that are floating around it, and what advertisers are willing to pay, and what fans are willing to pay. I mean, the price goes up every year, and people just keep going for it. And so that's how you get those kind of valuations. That's why the ROI on those kinds of things is so incredible in terms of how that goes together. So I don't think our Panthers are at $9 billion yet, but I dare actually that valuation is out there now that I'm saying that out loud. And I don't remember what it is, but there was some estimation done, maybe by Forbes magazine, on what the Panthers franchise is worth now. Because I don't think that's been put out by the Panthers. I don't think Mr. Tepper has sold off any portion of his ownership stake. But I want to say he's doubled his money and more since he bought it. I mean, so it's probably upwards of $5-6 billion.
I would think so.
Man alive. That's well, he's a good investor. He's proven that. That's how he bought the Panthers. He was so good at investing that he became a multi-billionaire and had enough money to float to buy the Panthers. Not bad, Mr. Tepper. Not bad. Well, folks, been good to be with you here in the first half. We're coming back for the second half here in just a few moments. Listening to Dollars and Cents here on WSIC.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents, presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
We'll expect some considerable cloudiness for our Thursday. High temperatures are warm again, back in the mid and upper 80s, and mostly dry as we go throughout the day. Heading into the evening into our Friday, scattered showers and a thunderstorm possible. Friday afternoon also looks to be drier with high temperatures in the low 80s. Heading into the weekend, Saturday brings some occasional rain. Sunday, maybe not as much. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Hi, this is Bob McIntosh with the McIntosh Law Firm in Davidson. Since 1997, we have been committed to providing our clients with competent, caring, and experienced legal services. Learn more at McIntoshLawFirm.com.
This is Sheriff Darren Campbell with the Iredell County Sheriff's Office. Every day, scammers are targeting people right here in our community through phone calls, emails, and text messages, trying to steal your money, your personal information, and even your identity. If someone calls claiming to be from a government, a bank, or even law enforcement demanding money or personal details, stop and think. Legitimate organizations will never ask for gift cards, wire transfers, or your passwords over the phone or email. If something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. Hang up, don't click that link, and never share personal information with someone you don't trust. At the Iredell County Sheriff's Office, we're working to protect our community, and we're proud to partner with WSIC because local starts here, and keeping you informed keeps you safe. Stay alert, stay smart, and don't fall for a scam.
Lowry Drug is a source for excellent pharmacy services. We have served the Statesville community since 1959. We have attentive customer service, a state-of-the-art compounding laboratory, and the Dispill medication packaging system that takes the work out of medication management for those using medication planners. We do it for you. Come see us at Lowry Drug in Statesville. Call 704-873-2247. Come see us.
Prioritizing your health is one of the best ways to take care of yourself. From routine visits to the joys of pregnancy to the illnesses that stop you in your tracks, Iredell Health System will be by your side. Learn more at iredellhealth.org.
Harness the healing power of horses. With the amazing staff at Willow Equine in Mooresville, we create a supportive environment conducive to healing and growth, dedicated to self-discovery and overcoming adversity. There's a program for you at willowequine.com.
Need a ride? iCats has you covered. Tuesdays to the VA in Salisbury, Thursday to Winston-Salem, and Fridays to Hickory. Plus, run errands every day around Iredell County for just $1. Visit rideicats.com.
'Tis the season. Bloom large at Drum Landscape Supply, your one-stop shop for everything you need this spring. Don't waste time running from store to store. Flowers, trees, mulch, and more. They've got you covered. Plus, they deliver. Visit drumlandscapesupply.com today.
No one should face an empty plate, especially in our own backyard. At Angels and Sparrows, we are feeding families, fueling futures, and fighting poverty every day. But we can't do it without you. Help us keep our plates full. Join our full plate fundraiser at angelsandsparrows.org.
Looking for an upscale night out? Welcome to Vin 110 in Cornelius, Lake Norman's destination for great drinks, great bags, and live music. With over 500 whiskeys, 100 wines, a full craft cocktail list, and Small Plates Kitchen, we built something special. Enjoy live music every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, monthly comedy nights, and curated wine and whiskey tastings. Ben 110, where your night becomes the main event. Find us at 19712 1 Norman Boulevard, Suite 110 in Cornelius.
Friendly reminder, don't brake when you see the lake.
WSIC, local starts here.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Amazon is agreeing to settle with the Federal Trade Commission for $2.5 billion. The FTC alleged Amazon misled customers into signing up for Prime subscriptions and then made it difficult to cancel. The e-commerce giant is expected to pay a $1 billion fine and provide $1.5 billion in refunds. Those who qualify will be notified through email or snail mail and could get $51 back. OpenAI is rolling out a new ChatGPT feature that sends users a set of personalized news, research, and other updates based on their prior conversations with the chatbot. ChatGPT Pulse is available to select paid customers beginning today. You can receive 5 to 10 visual cards each day with details on topics of interest to the user that you could then talk over with the chatbot. Heading toward the close, markets are down between 0.3% and 0.5%. I'm Nancy Lyons, Bloomberg Radio.
Don't miss a thing. Download the WSIC News app today. WSIC. Local starts here.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much. Hanging with us. Second half, you made it into the final half of the day if you're a 9 to 5er, and I appreciate you spending that time with us here. We were just talking as we were going to break there. Just amazing. We were talking about during the break too, producer Reese and I, just how amazing the valuation element is for the NFL. I mean, it is not cheap to be a fan. It is not cheap to go to a game. It is not cheap. Even these streaming services. I mean, you get a couple of them. I mean, my gosh, it's amazing how much folks are willing to spend on viewing NFL games and big time college games as well. I mean, I don't want to minimize them at all. I'm just talking about the NFL just because we had that valuation from the Patriots here as they sold off a portion of the franchise. Again, $9 billion. I mean, holy mackerel. Is that a lot of money? So anyhow, we're going to keep going here. Thanks for your indulgence on that kind of thing. Got to talk about, we got a whole bunch of things to talk about here. We could dive in on any one of these, but you know that we like to talk a little food around here. And we do. And I wrap it into publicly traded companies and some local flavors, no pun intended, on it as well. But here's one that definitely caught my eye. And probably because it takes into account, well, not that I've really met any foods that I don't like, but it takes into account some foods that I really like, and it just speaks into our national intensity of love for fried chicken.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and we've talked about this a lot on Dollars and Cents because there are any number of quick serve restaurants, formal restaurants, and the like that are now in the fried chicken business. This one, I had a little bit of a stretch in thinking about it in terms of, okay, I see what you're doing. It really just speaks to the intensity of how much we love fried chicken, more than the fact that it may or may not go together. And this is with Starbucks. So Starbucks, Sam Buster Umbrella X-Ray, SBUX, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the stock or the debt on that end of things. Here it is. Chicken maple butter and egg sandwich. Now, I know that they've had breakfast offerings / lunch offerings for some time. So this is not new that they have a sandwich or a food option in addition to their traditional drink menu. But this is the first time, to my knowledge, and I believe this is the case, this is the first time they've stepped into anything that has fried chicken in it, I think. So when I thought about I mean, I like to go through the list because they have most of the ingredients there, right in the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fried chicken, maple butter, interesting. So that's a little bit of that chicken and waffles kind of concept there, right? So you got a little bit of the savory, a little bit of the sweet, and egg, on a sandwich. Yeah.
You're for it.
I'm for it. I mean, you can see by my body language here. I mean, you can see by the smile on my face if you're watching us on the socials here. I mean, I'm for it. Now, would I want that with my coffee, whether it's from Starbucks or anybody else? I don't think so.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like you were naming off the things, and they all sound good together.
Right.
But when you threw in the egg,
okay,
it just seems like they were adding a little bit too much.
Interesting. I wonder if it's so they could tie it in closer to a breakfast sandwich, right? So
that makes sense.
You know, so I guess it's obviously I'm very intentional about that, especially here in the U.S. That eggs are mostly synonymous with breakfast style dishes. Not all, but certainly a lot of them are. But maybe that was why, to kind of tie it in on the breakfast end of things.
I still think it sounds good though.
I mean, the combination of it going together definitely hit my radar screen when I heard that there. So interesting, Starbucks, that you're going in that direction. And again, I think it just affirms what we have declared here on WSIC, and I believe we trademarked it at this point. No, we haven't. that we as a country have a limitless desire for fried chicken.
Yes.
We just, I mean, do you don't have to believe me. Just look at, I mean, every restaurant not everyone, but many restaurants that are out there. I mean, and if somebody like Starbucks, I mean, you go from coffee to fried chicken. I mean, that's a pretty good jump.
Yeah.
Right. That's
not too crazy.
That's not it's not out of the realm. Anyhow. All right, got another one here. Another favorite. We talk about them with regularity as well. Also because they're a publicly traded company. Also because they started out here and still are based here in the great state of North Carolina. And but they came out with a new offering here. And this, again, you can see it in my eyes, definitely appealing. I'm looking at you, Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme, publicly traded.
Ooh.
One of the best ticker symbols out there in terms of relevance to what they do. David, Nancy, Umbrella, Tom, DNUT, donut.
Nice.
That's the ticker symbol. I mean, makes perfect sense. I mean, it's one of the best ones that's out there. Anyhow, obviously known for their donuts. Obviously known, especially for their hot and ready glazed ones. Coming out with ice cream. Very interesting. Ice cream and milkshakes that are, you know where I'm going with this, which have donut flavors in them.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay, so ice cream
Ice
has
cream
a
with
donut
the,
flavor.
with the donut
I
flavor.
thought you were saying donuts with ice cream.
I could do that too,
flavored.
but I think it'd have to be like those things you see in the grocery store. You know what I'm talking about, where you got something that looks like a cookie on top and the ice cream in the middle. It'd have to be the hard serve ice cream. This, I think, is more soft serve.
Now, I'm just imagining this.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
This sounds really good.
Because because this is the kind of person I am who gets real excited about food. I would like to have a donut in one hand and that ice cream in the other.
Right. And now you can have both.
Exactly. And I may or may not dip the donut in the ice cream just to kind of maximize the near gluttonous enjoyment of the experience there. I mean, are you kidding me, Krispy Kreme? I mean, and going to ice cream and milkshakes.
I like milkshakes.
Yes, I do too.
I'll just go to a fast food place just to get a milkshake.
I mean, that's pretty much what Cookout does. I mean, especially late at night, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got people lined up around the block who are looking to get one of their 40 different styles of milkshakes there. But when I saw Krispy Kreme get in the ice cream and the milkshake business end of things.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm in for something like that.
I'll have to try that.
I mean, that's a good one right there. So, all right, let's keep going here. Talking food. We're gonna shift gears a little bit here. Got to talk about this one. This was a big move, not food related, but definitely talking about big move in the market with a particular stock. I don't want to extrapolate. You know us here on Dollars and Cents. We don't take single data points and extrapolate too far. But we're starting to line up some pins. And when you're talking about what I'm going to talk about next, we're starting to line up some pins relative to where the consumer is. And I would offer up, let's call it a shift in terms of where the consumer is. It's not dramatic. I'm not talking about the proverbial falling off the cliff kind of thing. But definitely the consumer is changing in terms of how they're spending. I'm looking at CarMax. CarMax, not familiar with them, the largest seller of used cars in the country. CarMax, again, publicly traded, Kelly Michael X-Ray, KMX, not a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the debt or the equity there. Stock went down 20% today. As of the time of this live broadcast, or as of the time of this recording, our markets are obviously already closed. We're beyond 4 o'clock Eastern here, but went down over 20% today. And the primary reason for it is not only talking about a significant drop in volume as far as the number of cars that were moved off their lots, but perhaps most importantly, what they see going forward. And a significant part of that, interesting, I think it's very, very interesting, significant part of that was a near precipitous drop in the number of used EVs or used electrical vehicles that they haven't been able to move. Now, we've heard this from from manufacturers. So not used car dealers, but other manufacturers, Ford, Volvo, Chevy, all have come out and been when I say Chevy, sorry, General Motors. By the way, Ford, ticker symbol Frank, F as in Frank. General Motors is Green Mary, GM as GM with regards to General Motors, and have all come out and talked about the slowdown in the movement of new EVs, let alone the used EVs, which they're having a really difficult time moving. We're seeing that now with CarMax. Obviously, it took the market by surprise. And they talked a lot about the consumer and the consumer slowing down, pulling back. It's one data point, folks. I don't want to get too carried away, but it's a big one. Largest used car dealer in the country talking about the consumer slowing down piques my interest. That's certainly something we're going to be watching. But first, we're going to hear from our sponsors. Back here in a moment on Dollars and Cents.
Make no mistake.
Did you say steak?
We'll be back to talk more finances and food on Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
We'll expect some considerable cloudiness for our Thursday. High temperatures are warm again, back in the mid and upper 80s, and mostly dry as we go throughout the day. Heading into the evening into our Friday, scattered showers and a thunderstorm possible. Friday afternoon also looks to be drier with high temperatures in the low 80s. Heading into the weekend, Saturday brings some occasional rain. Sunday, maybe not as much. That's your forecast. The WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. The 500 Club in Statesville kicks the weekend off early on Thursday, September 25th with the Thirsty Thursdays tournament. Call the 500 Club, 704-872-9990 for more information on entertainment, golf lessons, club memberships, the Victory Lane Sports Bar and Grill, and tea times. Saturday is the Fall Taba Walk in Old Town Cornelius. Town Hall and the Oak Street Mill are your destinations for a community celebration featuring live music, local vendors, craft beers, food trucks, kid zones, street art, a petting zoo, and more. The Fall Taba Walk is from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Saturday in Old Town Cornelius. NASCAR's National Series return to Charlotte Motor Speedway October 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The Craftsman Truck Series race will be Friday, October 3rd. The Xfinity Series holds the Blue Cross NC250 on Saturday the 4th, while the Cup Series races the Bank of America Roval 400 on Sunday, October 5th. Click on CharlotteMotorSpeedway.com for tickets and information about NASCAR's fall weekend and the World of Outlaws on the dirt track coming in November. Things are getting wild at the Carolina Classic Fair, and we mean every moment. From October 3rd through October 12th at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds, you'll find exhilarating rides, irresistible eats, but entertainment that's anything but ordinary. Barn to be Wild means fun for everyone, whether you're chasing thrills, chowing down, or showing off your blue ribbon skills. Steer yourself towards the fun and buy your tickets today at CarolinaClassicFair.com.
The Renaissance Festival is back! Saturdays and Sundays, October 4th through November 23rd. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com. While supplies last, don't miss the Renaissance Festival! Huzzah!
Stay up to date and find out about local events, job opportunities, real estate information, and more. Visit liveworkplaylkn.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter. That's liveworkplaylkn.com.
From market trends to retirement plans, Joshua Dobi has you covered. We're back with more Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial on WSIC. Local starts here.
Hello and welcome back to Dollars and Cents presented by North Main Financial. I'm your host, Joshua Dobi. Thank you so much for hanging with us. You made it. Fourth quarter of today's show, Football Reference. Appreciate you spending that time with us here. I don't take that lightly. About 1,001 things I know you could be doing, and you may be doing them all at the same time right now. But I appreciate also that you're including us in that mix of things. If you're a 9-to-5er, 11 minutes and 42 seconds until you get to that 5 o'clock bell. And I appreciate you spending that time with us here all the way through. And we've talked about a number of things today. I mean, we've talked about important stuff, right? We talked about semiconductors and computer chips and companies and joint ventures. Talked about a tough day for the used car business insofar as CarMax is concerned. And then perhaps most importantly, as producer Reese and I were talking about here during the most recent break, how ingenious it is to have a combination of Krispy Kreme glazed donuts with soft serve ice cream. I don't think there's anything else that can be offered which would supersede that. You can find some things that would be equal to that, right? I mean, there are definitely some things which are out there, which, the birth of a child and a big promotion. I'm just kidding, all right? But anyhow, tough to beat when you're talking about hot donuts and cold ice cream. But let's keep going. Talking about, let me bring a little local flavor. And I know I've heard from you any number of times. We're talking always about publicly traded companies, so we want to bring some local flavor in, want to hear some things locally as well, which we do here on WSIC. We got over 35 hours live content every week, bringing you all the stuff about what's happening in the region. So make sure, and don't tell me you can't get the radio signal. Head on over to the Google store. Head on over to the Android store. Pick up that WSIC app. You know what? One of the best things about it, I'm serious, it's a heart attack about this. You know what the best things about it, whenever you download that app and you open it up, the very first thing that you see is a big button. I love that. It's and I know that it's probably to accommodate people like me who are technologically, let's say, behind the curve. Is that the most polite way to say it? I would say I'm inept. when it comes to most things technologically related. Can't miss it. I mean, you crack open that app and right there, boom, hit the button, and you can hear us no matter where you are. As long as you got a cell phone signal, Wi-Fi signal, you can hear us. Make sure that you do that if you haven't done it already. But looking at some of the local flavor here, this is from our friends over at Charlotte Business Journal at the CBJ, and this. If it didn't come out today, it has not been out very long. But I was kind of surprised to see it. I shouldn't say that. I was surprised to hear that there already is somebody in the mix who's looking at this. And I'm looking at Birkdale Village. Birkdale Village, one of our crown jewels here in the Lake Norman region in terms of mixed use, live, work, play kind of combination that we have there, meaning we have residential, townhome, condo, apartment kinds of spaces. We have retail, we have restaurants, we have office space over there. And they just went through, actually, in some ways, they're still completing it, especially with the Suffolk Punch space there in the middle of the complex, but mostly finished on a $20 million renovation upgrade, changeover in some tenants there as well, and has just gone through a big refresh for that property. Anyhow, I'm going to catch myself here. I'm going to say in June. It's been a couple of months. So let's say June. And again, check me on it if I'm wrong here. But in June, the group that owns Birkdale Village, led by a group called North American Properties, announced that it was up for sale. And that they had just bought it here several years ago, and now it was up for sale again. And that they were soliciting bids, and they had retained counsel and all that good kind of stuff. Well, it was announced by, again, our friends over at Charlotte Business Journal, the CBJ, and maybe some other places as well, but that's where I picked it up, that a group called Hines, Hines, huge group that owns a bunch of retail spaces around the country. I want to say their portfolio, if I remember correctly, from doing the due diligence, $90 to $100 billion in property value that they either are managing, have under ownership, the whole 9 yards there. A group called Hines, Hines, looking at acquiring a stake, meaning a piece of it. I don't know that they're going to be looking at buying the whole thing, but the word from the CBJ, and I'm using their terminology, that's why I'm being very intentional about that Hines is looking at acquiring a stake in our Birkdale Village. So, which will be very interesting to see. You know, what that means. What does that mean for the tenants? What does that mean in terms of the approved, meaning from a zoning standpoint, hotel and other office space, a parking deck in there that may be out there at some point in the future? What will that mean for all of that? I don't know. Especially when it goes through new ownership, but going to be very interesting to see. So we're definitely keeping that on the radar screen. Again, Birkdale Village, crown jewel here in the Lake Norman region in terms of, I mean, really, I would say when you're looking at national, now I'm not a real estate person, so you can call me up and carve me up if you want to tell me that I'm wrong here. But I would say Birkdale Village in a lot of ways was a harbinger for that mixed use style, live, work, play kind of experience in a community, in a neighborhood where you had the retail and the office and the restaurants and the living space all in just a beautiful village, for lack of a better term. And because I've seen so many other places try to emulate it, but Birkdale has been again just a very central point for us up here at the lake specifically, and for our whole Charlotte region now for about 20 years. Pretty amazing when you're looking at it. So again, it looks like there may be some folks who are looking at it, maybe looking at acquiring a piece, and maybe even the whole thing. We don't know yet. We're going to be watching it to see what that means. But all right, I got to pivot here back a little bit. I know I'm getting to the markets. Don't get too carried away on me here, but I got to talk a little bit market wise on unemployment claims, and I've been talking about this more and more because frankly it's been astounding to me, especially as interest rates have risen, inflation has jumped up from where it was here 3 or 4 years ago. Unemployment claims continue to be amazingly resilient. Meaning, and put it another way, our unemployment rate is still at historic lows. 4.1, 4.2, meaning 4.1, 4.2%. Full employment in this country, very legitimately by the measure that I use, the U6, for means of discussion, because that's the one that gets talked about the most. 5%, 5.5% unemployment is considered to be, quote, full employment by most economists out there, and we're below that. So I would say that the labor market continues to be very tight. The new unemployment claims this past week announced this morning from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as they do every week, 218,000, which is a big number, not taken away from that. But when you look at it in terms of the historical space, pretty average for us, even a little bit less than what would be normal for a week. 218,000 new claims, continuing claims, those folks who have been on claim for longer than a week, 1.9 million, 1.9 plus, a little bit, a couple more than that, 1.9 million. Again, a lot of people. I'm not taking away from the size of that number, but when you look at the size of our workforce here in that country, again, pretty normalized in terms of the number of folks on continuing claims. So I'm saying that to say, and I've said this now several times, I'm going to keep saying it because, I probably will periodically tell you when I look at something correctly, but I'll also be the first one to tell you when I've looked at something incorrectly, or certainly my prediction was off base. I thought as the Federal Reserve started raising rates here about 2 years ago that we would see unemployment rise notably. Hasn't happened, folks. Has not happened. I mean, I continue to be amazed at that. I continue to be amazed at the increase in the cost of capital that we see out there, i.e. interest rates are notably higher, but the Fed just cut a quarter point. Kind of interesting as well in that conversation. And inflation being higher than it has been in the previous 15 years, and yet still unemployment, meaning the labor market continues to be very, very tight. So I think that's an interesting dynamic. I think it speaks to why the market has done so well here over the last several years. I think that is absolutely in the mix of things the consumer, on a relative basis, has continued to spend. Now, there are things like what I talked about in the last segment there. There are data points which are starting to line up, indicating some cracks. And I'm not saying that because things are going to blow apart or that we're going into a recession. I'm not saying anything like that. But what I am saying is that there are data points which are beginning to line up, which show the consumer slowing down in terms of the intensity of their spending. Now, we've looked at the car markets, new and used, a lot, because for so many folks, a car is a necessary part of life. So how you buy, what you buy, how much you spend on it, how you finance it, what are the number of loans that are bouncing out or delinquent. I mean, all of those kinds of things. It's very fundamental in terms of our relative experience in this country about how the workforce manages, right? Because for a lot of folks, they need to drive to get to work. So, and they certainly need to drive to do any number of other things in their lives. So that's a very big note, not the only one, but a very big note that's out there. And when you're starting to see some cracks in that end of things, well, it definitely causes us to raise our eyebrows. So that's why we're watching it. We're definitely watching this upcoming Christmas retail season. That tends to also be an indication about confidence for the consumer, meaning if they're willing to spend more money on Christmas-related kinds of things, that tends to be an indication of confidence. It tends to be they feel good about their job, they feel good about their income, they feel good about their ability to pay their bills, all of those kinds of things that are out there. So we're definitely watching how this takes its shape. And also, I'm going to bring up a third item, and I'm looking at the markets, and markets as defined by our most popular stock indices that are out there: S&P 500 Index, Dow Jones Industrial Average, NASDAQ Composite. At a certain point, folks, things aren't perfect. And I know I'm not trying to look at the glass half empty. You know me. I absolutely believe in our markets and the possibility of making good choices that can result in healthy capital appreciation over time. I mean, you know that. You've listened to me long enough. You absolutely know that I believe in that. However, when we run significantly above average returns for a notable amount of time, we have to at some point run below average returns in order to get, wait for it, the average, right? I mean, we just do. I mean, that's a fact. And it's just interesting. We just seem to be in a space again as a market where, and we do this all the time, where we have a little bit of distance between us and the most negative markets that have been out there in a little while, and the market starts thinking that things are going to move in a straight line again. I'm starting to see it, folks, especially in the more aggressive ends of the market. I'm starting to see the assumption by the buying end of the universe that the good things are just going to keep going good forever. Not true. Not true. I promise you, it's not true. You don't have to believe me. Look at 90 years of market history to know that that's not the case. So just be careful. You hear me say this with some regularity, and I especially say it when things have pulled back in the markets. Be careful. Be careful with your big winners. Be careful in assuming that just because they've done exceptionally well this past year, this past 2 years, this past 3 years, that that's going to continue to be the case going forward. Perhaps scrape some of that proverbial cream off the top, stash it away in something that doesn't go down in value, perhaps so you can buy something else later. Friends, I appreciate so much you hanging with us here on this week's version of Dollars and Cents. See you next week.
Serving you better than ever before. WSIC, Statesville, W290DK Mooresville, W264.